let's get it on the way. All right, a Scardor member. Big plus.
Yes.
That's already a good start.
Just joined like a couple of days ago, or whatever, and then did GPQ like yesterday with y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw you there.
And
Yep.
didn't know what I was kind of doing, but all right.
Yeah, there's not much to it, right? You just kill the monsters and then wail on the big guy, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I figured, might as well join the guild because I already cleared Lomian recently without guild skills, and that's kind of like the main thing I wanted to do, to know I was able to do that without guild skills or whatever.
Yeah, it's a huge difference whether you use them or
OP.
not, for sure.
Yeah, so now that I cleared that and CPAP without guild skills, I feel like I was like, all right, might as well join the guild, and because I see y'all guys on Sunday always struggling to like pull extra members to GPQ, so I was like, might as well join.
Yeah, it's tricky because you got to go on weekends because that's when most people are available. But then some people are not available on Sundays, and then it's always a it's not so much a struggle. But like we could go with 2 parties or we can go with 3 parties, but we want to make sure that everyone who wants to join joins. And like the better score we get, the more guild skills we get. So it's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a way of paying back, contributing a little bit at least,
Exactly. Well, the guild PQ is changing in the future where you can just do it solo and then your damage kind of counts for that week. So you'll be able to go whenever you want. So it'll be a bit more flexible that way. Kind of sucks as well because, I mean, as annoying as it is also kind of fun to just hang out with everyone and go together and kind of like hang out. If that's going to be gone, that's going to be a little bit of a downside, I would say, overall.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Scar Mom in the Discord.
Yeah.
Because that was funny yesterday.
I think that was the only time, or like, I think way in the beginning she went one time, and then now she went one time, yeah. Benediction? Bene?
But yeah, been waiting for this for a while, so, I'm glad it's finally happening, because I said this like 6 months ago, whatever. I was like, after I clear CRA, I'm going to set one up with you, but 6 months later, here I am. So,
well, a lot of people have said that, so I kind of lose track when people say that, to be honest. People are like, I'll do one somewhere in the future. I'll be like, okay, well, let me know when.
Yeah, and I'm just glad. I mean, I watched through all the progression videos just because I want to pick up on things that I might have missed from other stuff, but it's nice to have stuff that I have like questions ready for you, so I came prepared a little bit, so.
That's good. So you did everything solo up until Lotus and Damien?
Damien, yep.
So like CPAP, Akechi, HMAG, that's all under your belt as well?
The only thing I didn't do so far is the Akechi pre-quest, which I was going to plan on doing like tomorrow or something. So,
you gotta take a day for that one, yeah.
Because I've been working on mainly Legion. And, like just in the chat, I said earlier today, I just got 6K.
Yep.
And got my cane to level 200 with it. So.
Yeah, you were able to do that right before the session.
I've been grinding out Legion. Yeah, I've been grinding out Legion a lot the past like month because of the Neo Core buff or whatever. Because it gives extra EXP. So I was like, all right, might as well do this.
Yeah, it gives a bunch. Yeah. Are you feeling that on the Aran?
It's like,
for the bossing, you feeling that bigger Legion?
Yeah, from 6 months ago, yeah, probably.
Yeah, one character never.
Everything's been slow. Yeah, never really. You can tell the difference of like one extra boss damage.
Yeah.
But, like,
over time.
Like, it's like since I don't like farm like crazy, and I had to like I'm trying to do the thing like you do, like wait between events to upgrade for like star forcing. So the only way I feel like I can maximize that is maximize my Legion because it has like the most room to grow. So that's what I was doing. Okay. I feel it on my other Legion mules though, for sure.
Yeah. For them, like, percentage-wise, it's a bigger
cane.
Difference.
Yeah, like if I started Kane without my like 5K Legion, like it would feel a lot shittier. But so I have like a different view on the class. So
for sure. So
when I did Adele early on, when I got back into MapleStory, it was like super OP, super easy to get to level 200. It's like the easiest 200 in my life.
Definitely release Adele was really strong.
Yeah, so that's how I felt. Whereas Kane, I felt like he needed that Legion help for me.
Still pretty good with it though. Good, a lot of different mobbing skills and jumping around. Good mobility, I think.
Yeah, I think he was. I feel like Batman when I use his like little grapple hook or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels so much better than the Cadena's uh, hook or whatever. So
Yeah.
I felt like it was a fun class though, but
Hmm.
it's a little too much to switch to possession every single time, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking about that as well when people were asking. I think if there was a possibility to put your possession on automatic, if you were mobbing, I think that would be really cool. And then for bossing, I mean,
Yeah.
you probably put it on manual for bossing to make sure when you use all your skills. But for mobbing, just to like put it on to automatically possess whenever it's available. Because now every single time having to press the button in between is a little annoying, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, let's. I guess I'm going off track a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
let's get started. I guess. I want to start out with Legion because that's like the biggest, broadest thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's see here. So I like just reached 6K, but like I have a question about my Legion board setup, really.
Yeah.
Um, for my bossing one in particular, not so much the crit one for my Legion mules, but
Mm-hmm.
the bossing one, since Aran already has like a lot of like innate IED,
Mm-hmm.
and I calculated my functional IED to be about 95.8 or something like that.
Yeah. How did that
So
go?
is
Did
it
you?
worth even like putting any into IED or just shove it all on boss damage or
Mm-hmm.
something like that?
Yeah. I guess that's
Because I see a
that's
lot
my
of
thing. Yeah.
end game Aaron players. They uh they try to maximize boss damage as much as they can, really.
Mm-hmm.
Even in their hyper stats, they'll be like level 13, 14 boss damage, but keep IED at like level 10 in the hyper stats.
Yeah. Yeah. Over 10 is pretty. Well, yeah. If you have a lot passive, then over 10. It is pretty inefficient to go over that, and then you want to go over boss damage instead because it's 4% per one level.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you
So
you
like
use the
I was
calculator?
just thinking, yeah, I did use the calculator today earlier just to calculate it.
Mm-hmm.
I calculated um with the event buff,
Mm-hmm.
which right now I'm getting 15%, and I was still at like 95 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if I still have room for like the mage link to grow a little bit, so like if I complete the mage link, get the BT up to level 210 to get the level 3 link skill also, like I'll be about 96% IED functionally.
Mm-hmm.
So um but that's with like 20 IED in the Legion. So um, I
Yeah.
don't know whether or not I should continue. Like this is okay right now because I can't really put anything else, or take everything off the IED right now and just shove it all into boss damage.
So you're familiar with the progression command?
Yeah, I am.
So when you look at the numbers there for the IED that you're looking for around the bosses that you're doing around the stage that you're in,
Mm, That's about like 92 to 93 or 95 or whatever. So I
yeah, like
think
on the
that's all
upper end
right.
towards 250, like 95 by yourself is a good number to be at. So if you're at 96, you're like really close to that, you're probably fine. And whether you move it around or not, I think for the total functional damage, you're over 400% as well, right?
Functional damage? I didn't calculate the functional damage.
We can look because you have the stat window. So it's just your bonus damage and your boss damage together.
Let's see, stat window.
Yeah, so you're like 450, a little bit over.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine. So you're like right around where you want to be. So which basically means that if you move stuff around, it's possible that it's like slightly better or slightly worse, but it won't make any huge difference. So it's kind of like
Okay.
whatever. The main thing I think is that and I don't know if you have. Do you have the full superior equips?
No, that's the thing
Yeah.
I'm like still missing right now, but I have like a 40% line on my emblem
Yeah.
because I don't have a lot of mesos, so I rolled that. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'll just stick with it for now.
Yeah. Early on. Yeah, some people need even 2 lines early on, and then the Aran, because of your passives, you definitely can get by with just 1.
Yeah, because one of the third job passives is a 40% IED line.
Exactly,
already.
which is really, really nice.
Yeah, so eventually I want to roll that into 2-line attack, but I just don't have the mesos to do that right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if you did that,
right now.
because you threw it in the calculator, right? If you would take a 40% line away, then you probably drop below. I think you'd still be at 92, right?
I
Or
probably
barely?
like I think I calculated earlier this morning. I still be at like 94 or something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if the event buff ran out, and the it went away.
Oh, I didn't calculate without the event buff.
Hmm.
If it went away, but
Yeah.
if that event buff went away, it'd probably be around 93, 92. Like I said, I still have room with the Mage Link to grow and the BT as well.
Yeah, I think so the
I
main
got the
thing is
Blaster global.
I think the extra ID you can get in the short term is probably fine to make sure that I have a buffer for when the event buff goes away, and that you'll still be fine after that.
Yeah.
But I would keep the emblem line
Yeah.
until you get the superior Golux set going.
Okay.
Once you get
'cause
superior
that's what I
Golux,
was
yeah.
thinking too. Because I'm right now at like close to 900 Golux coins, so I can only buy one thing. But I got a superior drop on my first try at Helix, so
Nice. And then nothing since.
Drop, so. Yeah, nothing since.
Yeah, typical.
But you know, if I save up, you know, what's that, like 2,100 more, then I'll be able to switch into it fully, right?
Yeah, hopefully you get at least the other drop before then.
Yeah, that would cover for the emblem, right? Because that's a superior set's 40%, right?
It's 30, but it's like
IED.
close enough to, because you can go down a little bit and still be fine, and you have like the other things that will be picking up as well. I don't know if you have you looked at the ID sources, right? Do you have the other ones, like the 7-day Monster Parker? Are you going for that one?
Yeah, I do have the 7-day Monster Parker. Did that. I just finished out my second character, starting a third one.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so the mage will happen, and then the did you add your boost nodes to your calculation?
I did. I did.
And then
the one thing I don't know about the calculation though, like I did the BA for the GPQ, and it says Beyond Blade is like 28% of my damage, which is the most. But Beyond Blade has a hyper passive that's like 20% IED extra, and the skill already before the hyper passive is 30%.
30, right? Yeah.
Ignore. Yeah. So do I calculate that as like 3 individual sources with the level 40 boost node, the hyper passive, and the passive within the skill itself?
Yeah. If you're trying to calculate your ID for that skill specifically, then yeah. But it wouldn't be like the number that you're looking for overall. Only if that skill is like 90% of your damage or something, then you would just throw that into the calculator and have that be the ID that you compare to the progression grid. But if it's just part of it, then basically that means that if that's a huge part of your damage, and you know there's a lot of extra ID coming to it, then you can be a little bit on the lower side of the progression grid and still be fine, is basically what that means.
Okay.
So like if you're at 94 or something, or like, you know, you're like high 93 or something, then you're probably still fine. It's not like that you're like missing out on way too much damage.
Okay. And then
so when it comes to the like to put the things in the grid and everything, are you planning on eventually building up to 8K?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just I just went really hard the past month for 6K. So
That's good.
Chill a little bit, you know, because I do use the Legion coupons for training my mules. And,
right, you have to like max. Do the maths.
I want to do at least one totem once every other week with my Aran to farm meso, because right now I have some meso and drop gear. So.
Otherwise, it feels like you're not really getting anywhere if you don't make any money on your character.
Feels like it feels like I'm not like progressing toward the goal of like buying the droplets, buying the fairy heart, because One Droid was kind of AIDS, and the One Droid thing was the quest, like I got stuck on it because it just wouldn't show me a teleporter where it should be, and I tried it like multiple times, it didn't work, so I was like, I guess I can't participate in the event because game won't let me, so whatever.
Did you get it eventually, or?
No, so you know, I tried like a couple days towards the end of the event, you know, but it still didn't work. Like that one particular quest or whatever, it just wouldn't show me a teleporter where it should have.
Which one was it?
The very first one, I think.
The
like you
grate?
drop down and the wall's like pushing into you, right?
Yeah.
But you have to break the vent
Mm-hmm.
to open the teleporting wall. I break the vent, but the teleporter won't show up for my character.
Right. That happened
Like I tried it like
yeah, it happened a
five
few
to six
times for
times and
me.
it didn't work.
Yeah, well, it never didn't work that many times for me. Okay, this is like a
So for
really
me, I
weird
was just like
fix, but
unlucky.
it's a really weird
Yeah.
fix. But did you check if you were late for a Windows update? Because sometimes Windows updates actually break your game sometimes.
Maybe. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
weird. Like I was training an
that-
ice lightning and I throw out the ice ball, and the ice ball just flew through everything, didn't stop, and didn't do any damage constantly. So I looked at the bottom right. Yeah, I had a Windows update.
wow.
I do Windows update, and the ball just works like normal again. It's really strange.
Oh, okay. Because I was using my brother's laptop at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he never really updates his Windows, and I don't really want to choose to do it for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, you have to ask him first.
But now I got my own laptop. I got my own laptop, and
Real gamer hours now.
I kept it up to date. Yeah, I kept it up to date. So
Hmm.
yeah, I felt bad because he didn't. I mean, he wasn't using the laptop because he has his own PC and he just stays in his own room and just plays on his PC. But
You wouldn't even know.
I didn't want to destroy his laptop with MapleStory once he goes back to school.
Yeah. Opens that thing up, is like, what happened here?
Yeah, exactly.
So wait, so that means you don't have the Wondroid heart?
So, yeah, I don't have Android or heart, an Android heart either. So I'm just saving up for the fairy heart.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that along with the droplets is like 7 bill, right? So
Mm-hmm. You've got a while,
I have
yeah.
a lot of saving to do because I don't know if I want to do DMT or not either, because I just don't know. Like I have only a few equips I would get to like unique or legendary, but
Yeah.
you know.
I don't know if you could do it for half the money. May as well. Shouldn't be too
That's true.
expensive.
Yeah, it's just like I didn't want to re-roll for like the was it the Absol shoes or whatever, because it's like only on rare right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the episode shoes and the
So
pants,
that has,
maybe.
like, pretty crappy lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could use some love.
Pretty crappy lines. So I've just been settling a lot. So just like, I think I'm doing fine right now.
Yeah, if you're doing
So-
fine with something that's weak, that's always good, because that means that any kind of upgrade you do, you could just hold it off until its most opportune moment. You can get it cheaper, and then you'll actually feel the upgrade way better because you're making a bigger upgrade.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I like, so would you think then it's worth the investment then, just to even get like, say if I get the Absol weapon or Absol cape by then, if I can get those to just like at least unique, that would be worth it, right?
Yeah, the money, of course, can be a thing. Average cost is like a bill. I don't know if you would go for the Absol weapon, because this one is already so weapony. It's already so much. What a lot of people would do is, if you're keeping, like, holding on to this one for a while, you go for the hat instead.
Yeah.
To keep the Absol set bonus going. We have 17. So
Oh, so I would drop the CRA hat for the Absol hat?
yeah, you just put this one on pause for now until you can, until you make the full arcane set in quite a while. Because Absol just basically only goes up to 17 anyway, and then you can kind of just bypass needing to get the weapon, but you get the hat instead, which will be cheaper to make and to upgrade.
Okay.
As a 5 set, and then hold on to this weapon, hold on to that
'cause-
investment.
Mm-hmm. And like I still have towards the end of the event to buy the droplets, so I
Yep.
don't feel like I'm rushed right now. So I could.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. And the other thing is also that the winter event, or like our winter event, the current summer event in KMS, has 800 droplets in it that you can buy, and then 100 from event currency again. So it's also perfectly fine if you don't think you're going to be able to switch into the full set of Arcane, which you probably aren't before this winter. Then it's also fine to just not even buy the Mezzo ones, and then just wait until winter and then buy just as many as you need, depending on how many you find in the meantime. And just focus on the event currency ones for now.
Okay.
If there was only like 100 in there, I would say buy all the
sounds-
ones now, right? But if since there's 800, and you only need like 680, I think, for the whole set. So that's already more than enough by itself. So as long as I think it's better to invest in yourself and your account now, and then you'll be making more money by the time you get there, and then you'll be able to afford it better at that time.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
And then maybe that money can be
I
spent
guess,
instead
like-
on the DMT.
Yeah, I guess so. So, but I guess like moving on to the next thing though. I have a question about the link skills, I guess.
Sure.
Where
are they up top?
I see a lot of Arans have the AB link skill as like one of the best in slots because of our adrenaline rush burst. So that just matches up perfectly with that.
And your hunter prey or whatever
that-
it's called, right?
Yeah, with the hunter's prey also, which does like 20% of my damage as well.
Yeah, so if you can boost that one, that's a important one.
Yeah.
You were wondering which one to drop for that, or?
No, which one to like? Yeah, I mean, I would drop elementalism once I get like the DA to 210, right? And I can drop elementalism, the con.
Well, I'm looking at the setup that you put in the screenshots. Where you have both of those.
Yeah.
Is this the setup you use now?
I don't have an AB currently made.
Yeah, if you're bossing,
Yeah,
is this what? Yeah, okay. I mean, I think this setup is fine. Like empirical knowledge will level, and everything that's level 2 can go to level 3. The only thing here that I would switch is the close call would be towards the AB, and then I would keep the rest the same. I think all of the other ones seem good.
Yeah, because I'm just like dependent on close call a little bit now because it saved my ass twice during Lotus. So
yeah, it can definitely save your ass if you have like a jittery laser or you get knocked across the map. Yeah.
I accidentally up jumped from the Lotus laser a couple times.
Oh yeah, that happens. I've definitely
like
shaved off the top of my head. So
you have to do like the command for judgment draw to like teleport past the laser.
It's almost the same command, right?
It's almost the exact same command.
Was it like up? It's sideways down attack, or up sideways attack?
It's up, left or right depending on which way you're going. Attack.
Yeah, and the other one is up attack.
Up jump is up attack.
Yeah.
So like if I don't press like the left or right arrow key in time,
you're dead.
It just up jumps into the laser and I die. I'm like, okay, cool.
Then you look like a chum up there, like just floating.
Yeah, like the first time I did a few practice Lotus runs, I just died like 4 times to the laser just because I accidentally up jumped it.
Yeah. It might be safer to just rotate, right? To just walk around the map and just use a teleporter instead.
Yeah. But I guess right now, like, I'm just gonna keep on close call just until I
to get the
do
EV.
the boss a few more times to get used to it. So that way I don't ever have to worry about me making a mistake again. Like that.
And the Hunter Spray is iframe, right?
Yeah, it is iframe. You can hold it for like 5 seconds or something.
So if you use that one at the right time with your burst, then you can use that to pass by the first laser on the bottom that is trying to pass you, and then hopefully, if you get strong enough, that'll be enough to get through.
Yeah, normally what I do is just like, since I cleared it a couple times, I just stack up Freud's and get the 30-second iframe.
Right.
Go in there and just try to. I can like 3/4 or like 2/3 of burst it with just the 30-second iframe of Freud's.
Right.
Smacking away at it.
And then you can use Hunter Spray right after that.
Yeah, it's just in that last 1/3 is like where I get nervous. You know?
Yeah, for sure. And little robots nudging you and stunning you and inverting you into the laser when you're walking.
It's not the robots, because Aran's kit does pretty well into the robots. It's just
the Fenrir crash hits them well, right?
The stuff falling from the sky just really messes
Right, yeah.
You know. So, but yeah. So I guess like later on I could change out close call for the AB link. Yeah,
as you get more comfortable with the bosses, you'll be more fine to move it around. And it's only at 10% anyway, right? So it is a difficult one to rely on.
Okay. And then was it? I have another question. Oh, is Core Aura the Jet Link skill? Like, is that considered still like one of the best ones to use in the 12, or like does it replace elementalism?
Yeah, this gets into the realm of I would have to throw that into a calculator, because whether if you're more DPM-y, then elementalism is good. If you're like if you can like time your burst to go together with Thief's Cunning, then I mean, I feel like those we kind of get into the level of they're all kind of the same. You know, when you have the Kane one, or the Thief's Cunning, or the Elementalism, or maybe the core from Jet, or maybe the Cygnus Blessing. I like the Cygnus Blessing for Lotus as well, because it makes you get stunned a little bit shorter, so you can move out of the way sometimes faster. So like for hard Lotus, I like to use that one, and it still gives a bunch of attack. These are the ones that I feel are all so close together that it's kind of just up to you what you want to put in there. I wouldn't worry too much about which one is exactly better than which one. And if you do, you'd have to throw it into a calculator to see the exact results, because I can't like tell you that by heart either. And that balance will probably change once we get the change to the reboot passive from damage to final damage instead, because then, you know, the stat advantage of the core aura will probably proportionally, compared to elementalism, will probably go down. Like if it is better, the difference will probably get smaller. If it's already worse, then the difference will get even bigger in how much worse it is. But it'll depend on how good the core aura link is, of course, like how well you upgrade it.
Cool. Yeah. And then with the reboot passive change, does that like affect how I build my Legion board for bossing at all, or does boss damage now become more important?
Well, hopefully by that time you have so much in your board that you basically have the boss damage and the IED full at that point. And then you can kind of just do whatever you want. Technically, what would it mean? It would mean that boss damage would proportionally get more important than what? Because the it's always like a matter of opportunity cost, right? Like, at what is it going at the expense of, and is it worth it to move it up? The main thing is just going to be that damage and boss damage as a whole are going to be worth more, and the more you have right now, the more you basically get reduced efficiency if you have a lot of it, right? But it's mainly for people who have like their familiars have 90% boss, and they've got some lines of boss on their WSE and everything together. And you know, like when I'm bursting, I'm over like 1,000% between damage and boss damage. At that point, the extra lines of boss damage, you start feeling that reduced efficiency. And if it gets switched into IED at that point, then you see a huge difference in the efficiency. But I think in your situation, it'll probably just be a healthy switch that makes sure that the reboot central, not reboot central, but the reboot passive is more well balanced, and you don't get reduced efficiency once you get like higher and you get to level like 260, and you do those things like putting level 13 in boss damage and 12 in damage and that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's cool. So with that, like, I'm a little stuck on what I should prioritize for the next Terror Burn then. Because I want to train with classes level 200 that I don't want to like enjoy, that I don't normally enjoy. But I already have some classes that I'm okay with. Like, unpopular opinion, I think Mercedes is just fine.
People are hot and cold about that Mercedes one.
Yeah. But like DA is just so close for me to like level 200. Like it just feels like a waste to just Terror Burn it right now.
DA? Like, oh yeah, it's 193 already. Yeah. Do you still have those bonk potions?
Yeah, I think I have like about 4 more to do, and DA is like level 100 now, so you can get to level 200 pretty quick after that.
Yep.
And then probably use Neo Crystal Challenge or Neo Crystal Challenge potions on the DA to at least like maybe help it to get to Reverse City, because Reverse City is just so good.
Yep.
And plus, I like the background music in Reverse City. So
yeah. I think they did a good job with that for sure. Get the King 200. Yeah. So what were the classes that you were thinking like, about?
Would I do AD just to get it like, boosted up to 210 really fast for the link, or do I pick a class that that I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I heard dual blades up to level 200 is kind of right now, and maybe hero is kind of or like the 4 warriors or something like that.
Do you already have an AB or no?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't have one made at all. And like the BT is already pretty close to like level 200.
Yeah,
also.
that one's
I don't
already...
really mind training the BT. And obviously you can't burn 0, so that's not an option.
Yeah, that's not an option. How was Hayato for you? Was that fun?
Yeah, I felt like Hayato, it's okay. It's okay.
Because you're looking at the level 200, you're looking at the 5% crit damage there, right? So it's also one that's quite nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jet? I don't know if you like Jet.
Like the Jet was really fun. Like the mobility is just so sweet. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of people like it way more than they thought.
Like good mobility.
that they would think initially that it was really bad, but a lot of people like it way more than they thought they would.
Yeah, I love the classes with a lot of mobility. It just makes it a lot more fun. And Jet was like the most mobile character I've ever played, other than like Cannoneer, because I love Cannoneer.
The up jump is quite fun. Blaster, did you see the crazy things that blasters can do in mobility?
No, I haven't. But I'm like that's my current Terror burn, but it's already at level 212, and I'm having a lot more fun with it than I thought I would.
Yeah, there's some video. We could look it up, but like there's like Blaster and Hayato high level Spirit Savior runs are crazy to watch. How they move those characters around is insane.
I should look at that because I only watched like Arandamir's Spirit Savior one where they literally did 30k in one run. So I was like,
oh yeah, they go like
insane.
but to the edge and then zoom to the other side of the map.
Exactly.
Yeah, it looks like crazy.
Yeah, so and like Arc was pretty fun for me because it's pretty mobile. I just really like the strength classes in general.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thing.
The mobile strength classes.
Yeah, those especially for sure. Yeah. So you're kind of doubting between like the AB or any character that you don't have at all, just to get to 200 for the Legion clump, basically.
Yeah, like an Explorer Mage, maybe that's not Bishop because I heard Bishop's pretty fast. IL is like pretty decent mobbing too, so I don't expect that to be slow. But I heard like the Fire Poison Mage might be a little bit slow. I don't really enjoy Wild Hunter that much either, so I'm not sure if that's worth getting to level 200. With the Terror burn.
Well, I think it's a good idea to.
But like,
get the
it might be better than Battle Mage because I hated Battle Mage so much. It was like the worst class to get to level 200. Like people say, Mech is pretty bad and Mercedes is bad. No, Battle Mage is pretty booty cheeks, and I can't imagine how much weak it is if like that's like one of your first 10 characters or something.
What you could do is focus on the level 3 links on the 210s on the characters that you want first. So I would say like all of them, right? Like on the DS as well and on the Lumi as well, like those classes and the DA. I don't think you have a DS, right? Do you?
Oh, I do. Is that like level 168, I believe.
Oh yeah, I see them here. Yeah. Yeah, like if you get those level 3
like
links.
5% extra boss.
Yeah, well, the thing is like 5% extra boss here, 5% IED here, 5% damage from the DA, and the percentage of boss from the grid. You know, all of those little things. The 5 extra crit rate from the Phantom, the 5 extra, the extra level 3 link from the Angelic Blaster. If you get all of those level 3 links up, and like the Beast Tamer, all of those, I think what you could end up seeing is that there's a few classes that you hate that you don't even have to get up to 200. You can just leave them at 140. Or you just leave a whole bunch of them at 140 or get them to like 141, and then whenever there's bonking potions, you just slowly level them up with those to get to 8k. But you don't, like, if there's too many classes you don't like, you don't have to get all of them to 200, right? Because you'll have a bunch of characters over 200 as well that can compensate for a bunch of characters that don't necessarily need to get to 200. Because if you get all of them to 200, you get like the same Legion as me or as my mom, where you have like 8.5 or 8.6k. And I mean, that's great if you want that, but it's not necessary, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
8.5
get
is
you.
just one extra character. That's just that's not worth the extra effort.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. But you'll get up to like 8.2, 8.3 if you just do all the characters to 200. Just because of you have the Aran and you have the Cannon Master that you like, and you have the Arc and the Blaster you're working on. And whenever you have a character you like, you don't want to feel like you're wasting time playing it because you don't need the levels anymore or something. But instead, it's like, oh, these
No,
levels still
I
count.
still
They
have
still
fun playing all 4 of those characters.
Okay, that's good. That's
a
good.
lot of fun. Yeah. Like if I wasn't maining like, Aran, or if I wasn't playing Cannon Master, I'd be maining Legion probably, just like Sacrix or something. Like
So
that
10k
crazy.
easy.
Oh fuck! Like in Reboot, that just seems so impossible because of symbol dailies. But whatever.
Yeah, having to restart from scratch for every character is rough.
Yeah, for sure. But
2 days a week
I
is
really
just
don't mind
symbol
playing
with
the Phantom either. The Phantom,
it.
I'm just putting on the back burner for now because most of my characters with the links when I train them, with the Explorer link, the BT link, the Explorer Bowman link, and the BT link, and the Phantom link,
So much
and
crit.
the Legion setup, it's 100% like
Yep.
most of the time. We're pretty close to it, like 96, 98.
Yeah, with the current
So-
event buff as well, you just another 20.
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes leveling the Legion so much faster.
For sure. Because the crit damage starts kicking in, right? Before that, you don't really get anything from the crit damage, but once you get your 100% crit, the base damage for the characters goes up by so much.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really solid.
It makes a lot of the classes feel a lot better to play for me.
Definitely.
But that's why the Phantom's like parked right now. So, like, I really want to work on the BT next, and like probably the AB.
Yeah, I think terraforming the AB is fine.
I'm not sure if like that's a good use of my time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I also really want to work on Zero just to help my whole account as well.
Yeah.
I kind of do this thing where I like switch on and off, like help my main character, help my account. Help my main character, help my account.
Helping your account helps your main character as well, so.
Yeah.
Just indirectly,
yeah,
right?
Overall, in the long run. Yeah. Well, I feel like I really want that Zero to level 200. It's just that it's at 110, and I just don't like the story. Playing through the story as much.
Most people do until chapter 2, and then just go out and then go train outside, and then come back around level 180 or something when the training slows down a bit, and then just do the storyline, and then you can do the storyline quite a bit faster.
Yeah, quick question about Zero then. Like, I thought I read on your links and Legion command, Zero's Legion doesn't count until level 140. Does that mean it's just
130, I
140
think.
that's in there? Or
Yeah,
is
130.
it only like plus 60 or something?
It will count for the level that it has, but only at 130 at the first time.
What is it? Can you explain that again?
So it'll basically like where other characters have to be level 60 before they show up, and then the 60 will count as long as it's one of the top 140s. The level still counts as just the level, so it'll still count as 130, but you have to be 130 for Zero before it shows up and before it can be in your Legion.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry. I didn't get it the first time. But
Yeah, no
yeah,
worries.
that makes sense. So I can get that to level 200 so I can get the 10 EXP or whatever.
Yeah, it's so
10%.
good. 10%, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for Legion and Links then.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean, is there anything I should be worried about, like AB training wise, or
Well,
no?
they have very high crit damage and very low crit rate, but since you've got that crit rate on lock, you should be fine immediately. There's like the little skills have like a chance to recharge. In the beginning, they don't always recharge, and it's kind of annoying, and you have to go down back to a weaker skill. But once you get the fourth job, it just always refills all the time. You can just spam whatever you want, and then it gets a lot cooler. They do almost no lines of damage, but the lines are like really, really hard, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Got their own
So,
rope lift and
I mean-
stuff, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's cool. That's good. Alright. I guess the next big thing is the V matrix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I only have a couple questions on the V matrix. At least mine. What does weapon aura really do? Because I know a lot of Aran's end up
Oh,
using
sorry.
it,
You
but,
broke up a little
I
bit.
said it's like a final damage boost, but is that passive? Oh, I'm sorry. What does weapon aura really do? I see a lot of like endgame Arans use it and stuff
Mhm.
like that, but is it like a passive final damage boost, or I know it's like if it hits the enemy, it's like IED debuff or whatever.
So it just comes with final damage and IED as soon as you activate it. So that's nice. And what happens when you level it is the uptime goes up by quite a bit. So it actually becomes very useful as a result. And then every 4 seconds, I believe, or every 5 seconds, whatever you use a skill, it'll activate the aura that'll fly out and do extra damage. So if you're mobbing, it'll hit monsters a little bit further from you, even if the original attack was out of range. And if you're bossing, it just does a little bit more DPS. But the main thing is that the final damage and the final damage doesn't go up that high, but the IED goes up to a decent chunk, and the uptime, the total uptime of weapon aura actually gets pretty good. I think it's like a 60%, maybe even higher than a 60% uptime when you level it. But it is definitely something you do a little bit later, especially for you, since you don't really need the IED. Yeah. And the final damage is not a huge amount. Some people use it, like in KMS, they use it for mobbing sometimes. Like they will attack one side of the map and then move to the other one, and then the weapon aura will fly out and hit monsters a little bit further, so you kill monsters on a platform that you don't really rush towards. So it gets up to, if it's maxed, it gives 16% IED and 6% final damage for 140 seconds on a 180 second cooldown. So that's even higher, yeah. So it's like a 70% uptime or something.
So it's an active skill still? Like I have to cast each 5 times, or does it cast?
No, you just cast it once, and then it's just up for 140 seconds, and then whenever the 5 seconds pass, the next skill you use will trigger the aura. The aura wave has changed a bit over time. There was a time where it was really, really OP, where it would do like it would do 100% of the damage of whatever skill triggered it, and if you use it together with the Hunter's Prey, together with that, like with a big burst of that, it would be crazy. Or for Dark Knights, it was OP. Like if you use it at the final explosion of the Hurricane skill, that did like fuck ton of lines and triggered a bunch of times. Like if Aura Wave hit on that one, so they made it more like a universal hitting damage where it just does its own damage. But it does, 1100 damage on up to 10 enemies 6 times whenever it triggers. But so it's mostly, you're probably around the point where it starts coming into play. But yeah, Freud's is probably more useful for the beginning of boss fights and stuff. And you have your own bind now, so that's really cool. That just means that Urda Nova is kind of out of the picture for you.
Yeah, because I saw people use Weapon Aura in some of the Arcana maps for training the Arans.
Yeah, if you're strong enough,
to like glide through the map. But I'm not really getting the trick of gliding consistently. So I just final blow, Beyond Blade.
How's your ping? Because the gliding in the air is a little bit ping reliant.
I'm in NA, so.
Are you on? Well, you're on a laptop though. Are you on landline internet or like Ethernet cable, or are you on Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because Wi-Fi can make your internet quite a bit worse. But no, you can check your ping. There's
but like right now, it's like I don't really feel too many things lagging. So for now, I think it's acceptable.
Yeah, I noticed like a big difference. If I go in EU on the Aran versus on NA, I see a big difference in how easy it is to glide, for example. And that's like a difference of probably like 100 ping difference, but that's like noticeable for me. So like when you're jumping,
probably like
when you're jumping and you hit a monster, then you should start gliding again.
I probably like the thing was like right now I'm not gonna be where I'm like at my parents' house for like much longer. I think. So when I eventually move out, I'll probably build my own PC and I'll probably have a better internet connection there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get a better game experience as well.
Right now it's just like I just can't choose like the laggy servers. I mean the laggy channels that much.
Oh yeah, no, fuck those. it's nightmare.
I'm always scared about that when I'm like, I always like that's like one of my things I double check before I go into bosses. I'm like, am I in a laggy channel?
Yeah. We had some DC
right
today.
Now, like I don't have any problems. Yeah, I don't really have problems during the bossing, and I maybe lag maybe a couple times, pretty noticeably during my 2-hour totems. But
yeah, you'll have some spikes. It's almost inevitable in MapleStory.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just gotta go with it.
Do you need the
and
speed
then-
infusion? I see you have
so,
it leveled
like-
up. Do you need that to hit the max attack speed
Oh!
cap?
Oh, for Aran's you do, but I rolled crit damage, strength, and decent speed. I mean, speed infusion on my gloves.
Right.
So I was like, oh,
Yeah, well,
I don't need this right now. I
no,
guess.
then you don't need it, yeah.
So I got super lucky because I was like on my 4th black cube. I got that line.
Yeah,
like,
that's
nice.
that is a good result for sure.
That's a keeper. That's a keeper for a while until I go like 2-line crit, which is
Yep.
not for a while.
Yeah, I was trying to go for 2-line crit as well on my hero, and I ended up with a decent sharp eyes one. So it's like, okay, well, free matrix slot.
Yeah, so that's how I was able to like consistently like sneak Freuds into my V matrix, I guess. But like with the blink changes, like okay, I think the next one I get is probably, you know, weapon aura for my next V matrix slot, right? Because I don't see there's anything else that's much better.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
Aran.
I guess so. Yeah.
And then after that would be maybe like rope lift or the blink when the blink changes come, right? Because impenetrable skin I don't really need because Arans have knockdown resistance when they manually input the final blow command.
Wait, would you put the final blow
for,
command
like,
and during
Lotus is
Fenrir
not-
crash as well, right?
Yeah, when I do that whole thing, if I start from final blow, if I time it right, and it's pretty easy to time, I won't get knocked down by Lotus. So.
Yeah.
Or Magnus. So that's why Magnus wasn't.
Or Will later, once you get to that one. Will does a lot of pushing back and stuff as well into danger zones, so
Oh, okay.
it's gonna come in clutch there as well.
So, do you think that's like kind of like the right order as I progress to like level 250 or whatever, 255? Is weapon or rope lift or blink when the blink changes happen?
Yeah, I guess so. Because if you don't need the speed infusion right now, definitely when you're mobbing, Freud's does like nothing for you. Seems like you already have all the other useful ones there.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Keep leveling up decent holy symbol. Yeah. And then like Maple Goddess is not that bad to level up, right? Because it's just extra damage, right?
A lot of stat, a lot of stat for your
Pretty much
burst.
it, right?
Yeah, that's like what Maple Warrior does. Gives you extra base stats that like get multiplied, so it's like really good. And then Goddess takes that chunk that Maple Warrior gives you extra on the base stat that improves that big chunk, so that the whole stat during your burst is way higher.
Okay. And then I know I need to level up Maha's Fury because that's it gives percentage attack every level up. So.
Right.
And it's like up every like 40 seconds or something like that, so it's pretty nice to have that.
Does the uptime change?
Whereas like Fenrir Crash, yeah, it changes. It gives 1 second extra every level also, so it's pretty nice.
Oh, max is 35% attack for 60 seconds on a 150 cooldown. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that is quite nice. Good for the burst.
So. Whereas like Fenrir Crash just gives extra damage. That's literally it. So
yeah, it gets all the utility immediately. The IED and the knockdown gets that immediately.
Yeah, and it's still a big chunk of my damage, but I feel like you know, like I guess the meta is like bind and burst, so might as well maximize that, right? So
it's a lot of lines, right, on Fenrir Crash?
Yeah, it does a lot of lines, and when you're in Adrenaline Rush, it adds more lines.
Right.
I don't know the exact number.
Just to the moon, top of the map.
Yeah. I don't imagine like when you say like Lucid is like line story or whatever for the golems. Like I don't see Aran struggling with that necessarily.
Oh, they can definitely help. That's
yeah, for sure.
I don't know if that's this update or the next one, but that's definitely changing soon as well. That the it's not so much the lines as much anymore. It's just the raw damage that you're putting out on the golems. But you're hitting multi-targets as well, which is really useful for clearing the golems really close to Lucid as well very quickly, which allows people to push out and hit the further away ones more easily, and then that should clear the road towards the sides better.
Yeah. Um, so I think as long as I'm providing enough damage, I think I'm fine. But I just don't know like how much is enough for like Aran necessarily.
Well, if
Because you
you
know,
can, if you can solo
is a
those
BA like
bosses.
necessary for Normal Lucid? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
Is a
have a little.
BA is? Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I can go first. But is a BA necessary for Normal Lucid, or is that for only Hard Lucid?
Yeah, typically people start doing it for hard lucid because it's just like depressingly
Okay.
low numbers if you start doing that for normal. Most people will be like
Okay.
half a trill or something at best. The best thing to get, that I think
Okay.
is kind of a good measure is just like how well do you do against Lotus and Damien already. And if you could solo those, like
Mm.
how long does it take you to solo those without guild skills?
Uh, let's see. When I did Damien, I think it was like. Well, I've tried playing really safe against Damien because I just get frustrated with that boss.
Yeah.
Um, like it was like 25 minutes or whatever when I cleared it. Um, for the first time, and then when I did Lotus, I think it was only like 18 minutes or something like that. So, also, but like I was down to 1 life. So
Yeah, pretty clutch.
for Damien, I was down to like 3 lives, but I played a lot more safe because Damien's like invisible hitbox, delayed hitbox in phase 1 really upsets me.
Yeah. No, it does everyone. Don't worry. That's a common problem.
But yeah, I think like 20. Like if I go a little bit more aggressive, I think I can get Damien down to like realistically over the next month. I can probably get it down to like 20 minutes, maybe less. And Lotus maybe like 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
If I play safe still.
I think a good like to want to know that you can really start carrying your weight. I think if you do with guild skills and you can clear them around 10 minutes, that's like a good then you're like really solidly ready for Lucid, I would say.
For hard Lucid or just normal?
For normal, but it does depend a little bit on the class, like you said, like because if Will is in the air and you have no way of hitting him whatsoever, then the Will runs are just going to be a bit slower. There's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah.
And support classes will be slower, of course, as well.
Yeah. So, I guess like on the topic of Damien, then like, does that invisible or delayed hitbox in phase 1 always give you a +1 on the brand or something?
Yeah.
+2?
Yeah, if you walk into it too quickly
does.
and you get knocked back, that's a brand stack, yeah. It basically is like if he does an attack and you get hit by an attack from him, that gives you an extra brand stack on top of the passive one that you always get, yeah. So when he dives down diagonally or he punches sideways and you see like the pink blob showing up, then you always, like if you see him in the air and he doesn't do the cheese balls and he's going to dive, always be like directly underneath him. Because he's either diving left or right, and just wait. You just really just count to 3 Mississippi before you approach him and before you start doing anything. In the future update, those hitboxes are going to be fixed. All of them except for the dive lingering hitbox in phase 2. But then that one gets fixed a little bit later because people in KMS still complain about that one as well. But that is on the way. I don't know if any of that is going to be part of the upcoming update, but if not, it should be part in like September update. But yeah, until then, you have to just count 3 Mississippis and then then approach him.
And then go in. Yeah.
Okay. The main other thing for Damien, I don't know if you're doing that, is try to, if you see the sword that's going to land, always try to get it in the corner of the map, as much in the corner as possible, because then it won't overlap with the cleanse.
Yeah, I noticed that, so I was like, oh, I'll try to do that more often. And once I started clearing that up and taking the free cleanses when I can.
Yeah, always pick the free cleanses. Yeah.
Whatever. I'll just do it and not put it on the back burner because.
Yeah. Oh, I only have 3. Yeah. Next time you have 6.
Yeah. One time I did that. I waited all the way. I got to 6, and then like the last cleanse station was the bursting pipes underneath was like on top of it. I was like, unlucky.
Yeah. Or the sword is like, ooh, sure would be a shame if you're gonna get interrupted right now.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it would be a shame if I landed the cleanse station. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then, does he always do these two? Always does two of the things where you had to left right spam. Because I think that's what happened in my last 8-man run.
Oh, it depends on how long the run is. If you're like really
Oh,
fast, you bind him at the right time, you can burst him down. Sometimes he doesn't do any of them. It just depends on how long the boss fight goes. He only starts doing it when he's like at a certain percentage. It's like one of his later skills he uses. So it purely just depends on the length of the run. It's a very annoying one though.
okay. Yeah. And that always results in death, even after like you get out of the left right and you just
So you have
hit
to
him enough.
you have to get out of it, then you have to get to him, then you have to deal enough damage. Which if there's a blue ball around you, good luck with that. And then sometimes even after that, he'll like, I don't know, he'll just be salty, I guess, the fact that you were able to counter his skill. And then sometimes he'll just go back into the skill for like 1 frame, do a full map AoE 100% damage, and then just act like nothing happened, and you'll still get 1-tapped. That's like a bug that happens sometimes as well, so you can only iframe against that. There's no remedy otherwise.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the only other thing I struggle in like P2 is like when he does like when you like I get close to him too much and like attack him a little bit, he'll shoot the balls left and right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to jump between the balls. That like automatically kills me, I feel like, after like I hit him a bunch of times or something. Or 2 shots me basically.
Yeah, it's 2
so
shots.
That's the only thing I have trouble with.
Yeah, so if there's no little grabby hands above you, just staying in place and just jumping over them is the safest thing. If you're really close to him, what you can do is just stand right in the middle of him where the fireballs start and just jump up there. A lot of times the balls will just spawn just to the left and to the right of you and none of them will actually hit you. Or you rush to the other side of the map, to the other corner, and the fireballs won't actually reach the entire other side unless he's like right in the middle. Then the balls will reach the corner. But if he's a little bit to one side and you can zoom all the way to the other one, as an Aran, that should be a doable, right? Really quickly. You zoom out of the way. If you get to the other corner, the balls will just disappear before they reach there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of those where you have to kind of pick your battles as well. Like how much risk are you comfortable with?
Yeah, because I did like 6 practice runs or something. Even changed my Legion board a little bit at the time, just to see if there's anything significant they can do to it. And that was like one of the things that made me upset at Damien the most. But I think like after I upgraded some of the stuff, I think I should be able to do it again, pretty easily, a lot easier, hopefully. But yeah, other than that, like, is there any like mechanics I should know about Akechi really then? Because there's not a lot of videos on Akechi. Aran's doing Akechi. So.
Yeah, he's just so annoying. Don't use any big burst in phase 1. You want to be able to like burst him in phase 2. It's kind of like you have to kite him. If you're really close to him, he does this skill that knocks you up in the air. And if you're too far away from him, he'll do this like giant like shockwave AoE. You could, if you get really high on the up in the air, you could dodge it, but you have to be like in the minimum range away from him, which is kind of tricky because you have to be kind of close as an Aran. If you bind him, he will, once he gets out of the bind, he will hit you for like, I don't know, for like 85% of your damage and bind you, and then activate a DR, which is really annoying. So for phase 1, just like let him do his thing, let him run around in circles, and just like try to not get triggered. And then what I would do for phase 1 is just for phase 2 is just like prep your big skills and then bind him and try to completely burst him down.
Okay.
Because he just does annoying stuff. It's kind of like CPAP where you just want to get rid of him like ASAP because he just does annoying shit.
Yeah. And I think I remember you saying on stream like avoid the blue attacks or the purple attacks. I can't remember which one. Because that's like one shot kill you or something.
Yeah, in phase 2 he'll do basically there's like a bluish shadow of himself that'll appear somewhere. If you see that anywhere, get out of there because there's going to be like a giant swipe there that might just end your life. So just to be safe, try to get to the other side of where he is. Especially phase 2 because he'll put like 3, 4, 5 of them at one time, and then just like the whole wall there is going to be one shot unless you get super high in the map or just behind them.
Okay.
Yeah, so as soon as you see those, run.
Alright. And then I guess the only other bossing thing I want to ask about is like what's the difference between Normal Lucid and Hard Lucid other than the golems then?
Yeah, so that golem change, that's that's a big difference, but that's going to be changed. The other thing is that all of the skills just do a little bit more damage. They're a little bit more punishing. Bombs are more punishing. Sickles are more punishing. Golem damage when it's landing on top of you, that kind of stuff, that's more punishing. Phase 2, all of the stuff does a little bit more damage. And because he has way more HP, it's tougher to cleanse in time so that the Toho might happen more. So that's like a mechanic that will become more dangerous if you don't significantly do more damage. And then the main thing is that Hard Lucid has a phase 3 right at the end. So when you kill her in phase 2, she floats into the middle of the map and stays there stationary, like radiating damage. And you have to deal enough damage to her HP bar in the 40 seconds that she's hanging there to kill her in that phase. If you don't do it, the whole run is just a failure. And that's why you do that BA, to test how much damage everyone can do in those 40 seconds, so that you can add everyone's damage up together and kind of have a rough, like an idea of like how close are we to being able to destroy her in that time.
Okay. All right. Because I thought there was a phase 3 for Normal Lucid, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, no, Normal Lucid just phase 2 just ends. Oh yeah, another thing is that in phase, if you're doing normal, if you're struggling with the laser phase, which main tip for the laser phase is less is more. Just try to do small stutter steps. If she does laser, what I usually do, I go all the way to the top right corner of the map and then slowly make my way down diagonally to the bottom left. And by the time I make to the bottom left, the laser phase is done. If you move a lot, the laser will just follow you where you are. And the faster you move, the faster the laser follows you. Or the next laser will shoot where you are. So if you just slowly move instead, just enough to not get hit, then the lasers are all pretty close to each other and they don't cover a lot of ground. And then there's more ground for you, safe space to move to.
Okay. And that's still like a good rule even with the party members.
Yeah, everyone has their own lasers, and you can't get hit by your party's lasers. So everyone just does that phase for himself. Yeah.
Oh.
You'll see your party members like flying around and doing their own shit. Like, don't get distracted by that. Just focus on your own lasers and dodging your own stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So in phase 2, sometimes if you like want to Hail Mary, you can also like jump off the sides and fall down. And then if you reach the ground, it'll teleport you up to a random position in the map. Of course, if you do it near the end of the lasers, then by the time you teleport back, the lasers will be gone. If you do it too early, you might teleport in the middle of some lasers and actually take a lot of damage. But in Hard Lucid, that's actually punished pretty hard because you'll get teleported back up, but you'll lose 50% of your health, and you won't be able to use potions for 10 seconds. So it's way more punishing in Hard Lucid to do that. You can't just like Hail Mary like Geronimo, be like safety, but it's actually kind of scary to do that too much in Hard Lucid because it results in some deaths for sure.
Okay. All right, that's good to know because I mean, obviously from the conversation, I haven't done Lucid before.
Yeah, that's the next one on the list, right?
Yeah. And like that's kind of like one of the things I want to get out of this. I want to know what goals I want to set up for myself. Like,
to be Lucid ready. Yep.
Next. Yeah, and I think being Lucid ready is like a general goal, but I don't know. I feel like there could be some more other short-term goals I could work on. And the long-term goal would probably be like the very long-term goal would be like Varus Hilla, right? The Tenebrous bosses, but the other like intermediate goal is like Will, right? So.
Yep. Yeah, that's more of a level requirement to get there.
Yeah. So I understand that. So, but. You know, I'm just worried about not contributing enough during my normal Lucid run. That's like my main thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of want to like understand like where I'm at, you know, in terms of equips also, and that's why I talked about Legion and stuff. Since I don't have a lot of Meso, I want to maximize the free, quote unquote free thing I can get from Legion. You know, because everything costs time or money. So.
Yeah, it's all a balance between time and money. For sure.
So, if I just maximize that, I feel like that I've done a lot of maximizing on the Legion. I can focus a little bit more on the equips or whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so. If you look at the progression milestone, right, you can see like the amount of that I think is a good balance to have in all the stages. And I think like getting towards 6k Legion, once you reach 250 and you're trying to do Hard Lucid, Hard Will, those two bosses together, I think 6k Legion is a good point to be at. I mean, more is better there, of course, right? You have access to more stuff. But if you take that into consideration, you're kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to Legion. So I think it's totally fine to like take like a little bit of foot off the gas. Just focus when it's You know, when there's a terror burn, when there's a class being released that you don't have yet, maybe, or when there's an event that gives a lot of experience or a lot of the bonk potions, you know, that kind of stuff. Then you go a bit harder, and then, you know, whenever that isn't there, you don't have to feel guilty like you're neglecting your legion, because you're definitely right on track for how you want to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I don't know, I see like other people on like YouTube or whatever. They have Adels and they just go in there with like 2K Legion and just do fine. I'm like, what the fuck is this class, man?
Yeah, some don't need that
Or,
much.
like,
They've got their kit just carrying them.
Kana's just like, I just domain and that's it.
Yeah,
You know, or
pretty
something
much.
like that.
Well, sometimes
like,
you bind and sometimes you put a barrier down, but yeah, pretty much.
But like I feel like as a bursting class, like I feel like, you know, that I feel like I have to put up like you know, put my weight, contribute enough, and I just don't know what enough is necessarily.
Yep.
There's just like no concrete answer to that necessarily, right?
Not really. Yeah, so I think the Lotus and Damien, like being able to do that in a certain amount of time, I think is a good measurement. The other thing you can do is if you're running with a party in Lucid, you can do battle analysis and just kind of like check how much damage you do. For phase 1, it's a little bit scuffed though, because a lot of your damage will also be dealt to the golems, so it's like, you know, if someone else is a single target, then that number is going to be very heavily skewed. But you could always just do battle analysis and just see if you're ballpark near anyone, or if you're just nice run-of-the-mill, like in the middle of the pack, then you're fine. But as long as, like, if with the guild skills you're able to run the other two, like if you can run the other two like within one guild skill set, you can do Lotus and Damien together, then I think you're definitely in the right track. And you should be able to contribute like your own weight for sure. As long as you're not running with like level 260 people who are like fully decked out, who are still running normal for some reason, because then they'll probably do more damage than you, but that's going to be a little bit silly for them to do that.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing, I wanted to do this thing like solo for a while because I want to have confidence in myself to do the bosses. But honestly, Normal Lucid is like something you could just do solo. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a
that's
huge,
why I joined the guild and hopefully get into struggle parties, because that might be fun too, you know. Just have a few laughs because people die.
Yeah, laugh at each other for messing up. Yeah, those are the good memories.
Yeah, for inting, you know.
yeah.
So, you know, I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of like memories with that when I play League with my friends, you know. So,
yeah, that's the things you remember the longest. Those are the fond memories you keep. So.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of like joined the guild also, because like I like this community a lot, so. You know,
I'm glad.
I kind of want to, you know, be part of it. So.
Yep. Even deeper part of it, more intimate.
Yeah. Yes, for sure, for sure. So eventually, when I do the BA though, you know, people do only BA with just the green pot, so like no red pot, no echo, no guild skills, right?
Yeah, true. Just green pot, and then just whatever self buffs you could muster in the fight as well. Just self stuff.
Okay. All right. So, and then people for like hard Lucid for bursting classes, they're looking for like 2 trill basically, or like.
For bursting, yeah, like closer to 3 if you're bursting, and if you're more DPM, then like 2.5, and then the supports are usually under 1 trill or like close to 1 trill, depending on what support it is, because some supports are still really strong. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think the other thing I have next is like the next general question then, like before I like go into normal Lucid, should I go for like 17-star Absol? Or is like the equips I have now kind of like sufficient probably? Or like I had to do a little work on them.
Yeah, you want to take advantage of all the events that are going on, right? So we don't overspend. So there is a 30% off coming. I don't know if that's anything for you that still isn't 15.
Yeah.
That's relevant, I guess.
So. Double checking right now.
Do you have a reinforced earring?
I have pretty much. The what? The reinforced earrings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have backups. I have like 2 of them in my inventory, but.
You can get one of those to 15 to prep for when you get the superior.
Oh, okay.
You can just do 30% off for that.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't transfer until like 5, 10, 15
Yeah,
though, right?
exactly. Yeah.
And I would transfer at 16 stars or 15 stars.
It always loses one when you transfer, so ideally you want to make sure that it stays at a multiple of 5 or higher after the transfer. Otherwise, there's a chance it drops down
Yeah.
again. So if you would transfer at 15, it'd go down to 14, and then you can fail back down to 13, and it'll be really, really annoying. So you'd like 30% off to 15, and then wait for a 5, 10, 15, bump it to 16, then transfer, bump it to 16 again, and then safeguard it up to 17 like that.
Okay, that sounds good. Um, but I mean, that's all very dependent on how much meso I have at the time, also, right? So.
Yep, for sure. You could do like, okay, everything to 16 first, and then see where you can go, bump to 17 from there if you have money left, that kind of thing.
Okay. And then,
well, so since you have everything at 15 already, it's probably the good idea of the next thing to like to do upgrading in and to work on would probably to like bump your stuff to legendary during the DMT. That would probably be the next thing to work on, and then slowly get like some lines in the stuff, because since they didn't mention the 5, 10, 15, even if we do get it in the next bunch, which I think is not likely, it might be like very much near the end, so by then you'll have some money back to see if you can get some stuff to 17 by then.
Okay. So, like, doing normal lucid with, like, 15 abs, so it's not, like, the worst thing that could happen, right? It's not, like, bad thing, right?
No, it's not horrible. It'll depend, right? If you have some other gears that are, like, really solid that can, like, make up the difference, then one or two of your items might just be a little bit worse. Like, that's not the end of the world. The set bonus is probably going to be pretty nice. I think the main difference is like, do you get to the point where you can get the full superior Golix set? That's like a shoe in. Like then you're really, really settled, right? Because the 30 ID 30 boss is just so huge. If you don't get it yet, you'll probably have to make sure that all the stuff is probably at 17, and try to get 2 lines on legendary. Probably going to be very useful.
Okay. So then is the boss accessory set like only worth giving up when I get when I can fully switch into the Golix set?
Yeah, pretty much.
If I remember correctly, the superior Golix set, it's like not good at like even at 3 pieces, it's not that worth, but like at 4 pieces, it's worth.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, because they don't have flame advantage. They don't really have flames that you can rely on. You're probably going to get them to 17. Which that's nice, but you're gonna lose the boss accessory set where all the stuff probably has flame advantage for the new stuff. So it's not even at 3 it might be a slight increase when mobbing, but like until bossing, like you don't really switch until you have all of them, right? That's why I'm saying like prep the earrings. You already have a belt that's prepped, right? You can see if you can for the ring you probably go right on top of the ring, and then for the what's the next one? The pendant. For the pendant you could prep also a dominator. You have some spares, right?
Yeah, I have like 4 spares.
Yeah, so you could prep 1 dom and prep 1 reinforced earring during the 30% off, but other than that, I don't think there's too much you can do. But you, well, maybe you could do the belts. Sorry, not the belts, the capes, cape, and what is the other item that you were?
For the Absol cape. Oh yeah, and then I have like a couple backups for the. I have a couple backups for the Absol glove, but I didn't like. I only boomed 1 of them, so I just have like 3 other backups. So. I only have 1 backup for shoe, but you can do the Root Abyss shoes, right? You can do that.
Yeah, but you already have the shoe, right? So I think the main thing for the Abzo is just to aim for 17, and then that's it. I would just safeguard to 17. So for the cape, I would do the Zakum cape, and then just without safeguard during 30% off, just get 1 to 15. And then when you have that, you just sit on it until 5, 10, 15, and until you have the cape, and then do the whole, up to 16, transfer up to 16, and then safeguard to 17. Same thing you do with the shoe, same thing, you shoe, the same thing, but then you're acting at like it's already transfer hammered basically. And the glove on his shoulder, the same thing. I would just safeguard them with the 17, and don't worry with like the backups and all that stuff anymore. So you could get rid of the gloves and get rid of the shoes in my book.
Okay.
And when it comes to the backup belts, I would just hold on only to pink bean belts and get like maybe, I don't know, like 7 or 8 of them. It would probably be fine. And you could probably get rid of all the reinforced and only keep if you have extra superiors, which I think you have 1 of, right?
I only have 1 superior, yeah.
So yeah, so you don't need any like Rimuru shoulders. I would also keep it to one type of cape backup as well, if possible, so that because if you do end up with a trace, you want to be able to transfer it. But I can't see you booming like 3 or 4 capes on the way to 15. Like that would be so unlucky. So if you just have one type of cape, that's probably fine too. I mean, you can keep them for now because it's not like you need the inventory space. But the one thing is that eventually you're going to hold on to a bunch of things that can be important, and you don't want to have like 85% of your inventory just stuck on maybe I need this one day, because I have characters like that, and it's a nightmare. Every time you do weekly bossing, you just have no space for anything, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, I just like get worried because I'm trying to be risk averse a little bit because I'm not farming on a continent or something. But like also like I've been pretty lucky. I feel like I've been pretty lucky recently, so I'm just prepping when the bad luck comes. Like it's well deserved, I guess, to balance it out.
Just waiting for the storm to hit.
Like yeah, basically. I just don't know when it's hitting. That's why I have like a lot of backups.
Yeah. But for the shoe, you can get rid of. The gloves you get rid of. I think you can keep one set of the capes, but I mean you can keep them for now until the 30% off, until you're sure you at least have one 15-star, and then you're good. So a reinforced earring to 15, the cape to 15, and then you could do. Technically, if you wanted to, you could do a kind of treasure to 15 as well, for transferring from that into superior ring if you want to. But the question is like, how much money do you really save if you're going to be safeguarding it? Because you're probably going to be safeguarding the kind of treasure ring, because you don't want to like, you're not going to get endless backups of those. So the kind of treasure ring is like a more of a question mark, because you could use you could just do it on the superior ring when you get it, and it would pretty much be the same cost. But if you do it during the 30% off, you can already get the start. It's kind of up to you if you have enough money or what you feel like doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and for the belts, you can get rid of one of the types, and then the shoulders you don't need anymore either. So that should clean up the inventory quite a bit.
Yeah.
And give you a plan for 30% off.
Yeah, for sure. And then like the only other thing I feel like I'm really lacking on is Commercy, because I feel like I could have had the Dreadnought like months ago if I just did the Commercy dailies, but I just never do them really.
Okay.
Now I feel like it's coming up, so I feel like I should do them, but I like just today I got to the level 2 sailboat or whatever.
Nice.
So I need to do another 10 levels.
Yeah.
Dreadnought. So
that one takes a while, but it's so worth it when you get it. Trust me, okay? Slowly but surely.
Really?
Find some people to do CPQ with, extra dineros.
Okay. Is CPQ pretty quick though? Like that's
it's random. If you get the gold way, it can actually take quite a bit. But if you get Hunter's Way or Silk Way, it's really fast. Okay. So you're like 1 in 3. Yeah, there's 3 different ones. So there's a 1 in 3 chance with everyone that you get the slow one, and then you're just sitting there for 2 minutes, just infinity wave with monsters spawning, just waiting for it to be over.
And you can't do CPQ by yourself. You gotta do like at least one other person, right?
3 people in total at least. Yeah, it has to be 3, party of 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the solo voyages, you can do that whenever you want.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should just be saying in chat like who wants to CPQ.
Yeah. If you do it in chat.
I really want those narrows.
Yeah. Because the boat upgrade isn't cheap.
Because it's not something I look forward to, because like 4 of the 7 days of the week so far, I work like 11 to 12-hour days, and I come back and I want to work a little bit of dailies on the Terror Burn, on the main, and then do a little Legion. But doing CPQ on top of that was like, I ignored it because I just felt like I could better spend my time doing
I get it. CPQ and the Dineros, the solo voyages, that's just the one that kind of gets the lowest priority. That's pretty normal, I think.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, Goldwing gives more coins, but it takes way longer.
Okay. But like, if I do get the Sweetwater tattoo and the monocle, does that just become like my damage set? Like, or something like that. Like it's only worth switching into those two once I got those two, right? Enough dineros to buy the two, not to replace the boss.
Yeah, it's part of
Accessories.
breaking up the boss accessory set, yeah. So you want to have them like roughly around the same time that you get it the full superior set. So it's that, but it's also getting enough dineros to get a Sweetwater pendant. For later, you want to get another Dominator pendant and then transpose that into the Sweetwater pendant once you have a good flame. Because that way, it's going to be easier to get backups through dineros for the Sweetwater pendant. And it's also going to give you extra stats because it's a level 160, so you get the higher tiers of potential. And because of transposing, you will move the flame advantage from the Dominator pendant onto a flame advantage into Sweetwater, which it usually can't get without transposing. So with all of these benefits together, it makes that the second best pendant that you can wear together with the superior for the superior boss combination.
Oh, okay.
And for all of those backups and adding everything up, it's a lot of dinero. So for the long term, it is quite a good daily. But I totally get why it's the lower priority on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is it then? Like, right now, like where my pendants are at, they're kind of like damage pendants right now. Is that okay? And then like, once I get the Sweetwater stuff, I can switch the thing into just drop and be fine, right?
So you're talking about pendants specifically? What are you using now?
Yeah, like the Mechanator and the Dominator, I can just switch that to Meso or item drop. Because I don't have like 100 Meso, and I think I have like 60 drop, but I don't have 100 Meso.
Oh, that's a really good pendant already, actually. Ooh, it's 17.
The Dominator?
Yeah, the Dominator, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got lucky with that one, so...
Yeah, the flame is really good.
I it from like 15 to 17. I was like, oh, cool. But I didn't know like I was supposed to stop at 16.
Yeah.
It was like 2, 5, 10, 15s ago that happened. But
yeah, so for the long term, you would definitely want to just keep using this one for damage, and then you'll add a superior, and then use the superior and the Dominator for damage together. And then the next step would be to get this Dominator transposed into a Sweetwater, and then use the Sweetwater and the superior together for damage instead. But since you have backups, once you get to the point where you have enough dineros and the superior set is complete and you're trying to make that, the best thing to do actually would be to try to Star Force this Dominator and try to fail it back down to 16 so that you can Star Force it at 16.
Oh, okay.
Or sorry, transpose it at 16, yeah. And since you do have backups, even if it happens and it blows up, it's whatever, you could just transfer the trace and then get it back up to 16. Because there's just a huge benefit to transposing at 16 that makes it worth it. Otherwise, it takes away the value of your flame, which is really good that you want to maintain that as much as possible.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I didn't realize, like, I think I realized like a couple months ago, I'm like, oh, I should have kept it at 16 or something.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
But now that you said the solution, just purposely fail and just set 16. And,
yeah, if it works, just keep blowing up. If it gets to 22, then I guess you have a 22 Dominator too. But
oh, damn.
Then I guess you re-roll it to drop and have a really good drop pendant, and then make another one, I guess. But yeah, ideally you want it to either boom or to like go down so that you can get it back to 16. But once you get to that point, getting something back to 16, that's just going to be a piece of cake. Like in the amount of money you have, it's going to cost like nothing. It's going to be like a small investment. Right now, of course, it's like, well, this is like one of your best items, right? You're not going to throw this shit around. But once you get to that point, like everything is already 17. Almost all of your stuff is like legendary and 2-line ready, and you've got all these dineros lying around, and you're even maybe pushing your CRA past 17 because of how many backups you have and everything. At that point, this is going to be like a smaller part of the cost. But this one is like really well set up already with the flame, so that's already really solid.
Yeah, I think I calculated a while ago. It's like 90-some flames going or something.
Well, it's actually quite a bit higher, because for transposing, ideally you want to be between 105 and 115. So if you're going into late game or even in end game, where hopefully you would want to go, right? All stat you usually has a value of around 9 stat if you go very high up. So that means it's already a 106 with just the strength and the all stat, but the 5 attack counts for 3 each as well. So you end up like at 124. So.
Oh, I thought it was all stat was like 7 or 8 or whatever.
Yeah, well, so it depends on how good all your other gear is. So if you have nothing with percentage stat whatsoever, and you have 1% all stat, it could be value of like 25 or something, because there's just no all stat, so it doesn't go into a giant pile. There's no diminishing returns. Once you have all of your stuff at legendary and everything has 21, 23 and above that, then you usually get towards like 8, 8.5, like around there. But then once you go even further in the game, you get so much stat from everything, and people start min-maxing their flames, usually with a huge amount of main stat. And that makes the percentages scale up again a little bit in value. And then for some classes, it's even more valuable because you have like 2 secondary stats, for example. And then it can go even up to 10 or even 11. And if you're like a Xenon, it'll go up to like 23 or 24, and it goes like crazy high. So, and technically Dex also counts like 1 flame score per 2. So technically it's even like a 126, which is really, really nice. If you calculate how many flames you would need for that, it's actually pretty high. So.
Okay. Because I felt like I got pretty lucky with that pendant. Like, it didn't take too many flames to throw it.
Oh,
out
yeah,
there,
definitely.
It was my very first Dom pendant
Mm-hmm.
like I ever got from Arcarium. Like, it took like 1 full month before he dropped like a Dom pendant for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I just threw a few flames at it because I know I'm not going to get a Dom pendant for a while.
Yeah.
And then I got that. And then when the 5, 10, 15 happened, I just one-tapped it from 15 to 17, basically. So...
Yeah, we don't want to undermine that, right? We want to squeeze that value for as long as possible. So all the way until everything is 17 and you're ready to go into transposing, then I would start touching it. Before then, just leave it right where it is. Yeah, I see it's somewhere between 3.3 and 4.5 thousand flames on average to get that result that you have.
Oh wow, that's
so
crazy.
That's a nice one to sit on. Yeah. Even with I think even with Eternals, it's probably over. Yeah, it's over 1K. Around 1K, a little bit over maybe on average. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's crazy because I thought my other Legion characters have better flames than me, just because like
oh yeah,
like
of
my
course.
Cannon Master has like a 7% all stat, like 40 strength, like Deus Ex earrings. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, of course, dude. And preferably the stat you don't need. But if you're doing so many characters, all of your best items are going to be not on your main, just because there's so many characters with so many items that they're going to end up just, yeah, it's just you're going to end up not being where you want it.
Yeah, but that, I mean, that's what the thing with Maple is like. I just got to understand where to settle. So I think I've been doing pretty well at that. So
yeah, I think so. I think you have some pretty good stuff. Yeah.
I just don't know where to go necessarily. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. So, I guess to round out the pendants. So for now, you just have damage pendants and no drop pendants, no meso pendants.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't like even the backups I have. I haven't like actually touched them really.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
So like I was wondering, like in the meantime, should I make some of those like a drop pendant so I can, whenever I do farm, I can get some more meso out of it?
Yeah, or just when you're regularly training, right? You're not even like purposefully trying to farm. You're just trying to train and bring in money while you're training to get more value out of it. And especially now that you kind of paid off your mortgage to 6K Legion, now you can kind of start using your Legion coins for training and for gains. So that should help you quite a bit to get the gains in there. Yeah, I think because your WSE is in the situation that it is, and for everything else, you're basically just waiting. Well, so this could be part of DMT as well, right? To try to get stuff up to legendary.
Yeah.
Because Star Force wise, we talked about it. You have like 3 items to do. You have like a Dominator, a reinforced earring, and a cape, and that's pretty much it. Just the 15. That's not the biggest cost. Other than that, it'll be a matter of getting your shoe, your pants, and your shoulder, and potentially the cape, depending on when you get it, right? Getting those up to legendary, and then probably some accessories. So let's see what you can use. So right now you are using the Zakum Eye and Face. Oh no, you the Pink Bean.
I have the black. Yeah.
Pink Bean Eye and the Zakum Face. Yeah, so that's a meso and a drop. And they have damage along with them. Really nice flame as well on the black B mark, so that can be used for quite a while. That's good shit. That also kind of makes it so that you don't necessarily need to get a monocle if you get backups for the black bean mark until you're planning on pushing past 20 stars, you know?
Oh, really?
Because this is a really good flame. Even the way that this is, the monocle would have to be so good and have to have such great potential to overpower this, because 66 and 5, like a monocle with a regular flame, isn't really going to go higher than like 35 flame score or something like that. And this one you're looking at like is like 110 or something. So.
Oh, crazy.
Or even higher, maybe like 115 almost. So that is a lot of value that you can get out of this. But you'll need backup specifically from Pink Bean to be able to push this one.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't even do Pink Bean every day either, so...
Yeah, you drop the normal one after a while. That's pretty normal. But you want to do Chaos weekly, right?
Yeah, I still do Chaos weekly.
That one has a pretty good drop rate for Black Bean, so you'll hopefully get a few backups for that.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I feel like now I'm at 6K Legion. I can do the thing like you do, just like buy a 30-minute drop coupon or whatever. Just do like a lot of the daily bosses and that.
Yep, and squeeze them all one in a row. Especially now that you can go through the boss menu, it actually makes it quite a lot easier, right? Just number 1, number 2, number 3, you just keep going, yeah.
Yeah, even add some of the, like, I can blow up CRA and all in one burst. Every single one of them, basically. So,
yeah, it's good. Yeah,
and even Hard Magnus I do in one burst also.
That's so satisfying as well. Once if you go from being able to do a boss the first time, which you just have with like Hard Lotus and Hard Damien, right? You only did them a few times, but then you start upgrading and getting stronger and stronger. And you can see just how much faster the boss fight gets, and that's like the main thing of what. And I wanted to circle back to what you said about Lucid, is like you want to make sure that you're not, that you're carrying your weight and that you build confidence and that you know what you're doing. One of the main ways in big bosses that you can increase your damage is that you know what you're doing. You know when you have to move, you know when you can stay, you know how far you have to move, and you know when you can use your iframe and rely on that. Once you know these things, you'll be able to get more hits in. You don't necessarily hit more damage per hit, but you'll be able to get way more hits in during the boss fight. And as a result, it's just like the first time you do Vellum, you feel like everything kills you and you can't stand anywhere, right? But then you try it like 3-4 times, and then you're like, okay, wait, I can actually stand here. I can actually stand here. And now I can do 2 more hits here and 3 more hits here. And before you know it, you can actually, you go from just dying out in like 3 minutes. And then you go to, after a few runs, you go to running out the clock and he still has like 40% of his HP left. And then you go to killing him with like a few minutes left. And then you go to like bursting him in one burst. But like in that stage... in the first 3 stages, you don't really get that much stronger. Maybe like 10% or 15% final damage stronger. But a lot of the extra damage just comes from learning the boss fight and becoming more confident in it. So, you have to like extrapolate that as well to once you start doing Lucid. It's a bit harder to see because everyone is doing their own thing. So you can't really know how much of it is yours and how much of it is someone else's. But yeah. It's more about, hopefully you get a positive feeling about it. Hopefully you feel like you're making progress. You're not dying to dumb shit anymore. And you can actually move forward. Then that would be good progress for you.
Okay. That's good to know. And then I guess like the last thing in terms of like drop gear, I guess, with that.
Yeah, which pieces can we use, I guess?
Familiar also.
Oh, are you okay with which pieces to use for drop and mezzo?
Yeah, I mean...
Because you got the Iron Phase, you got the earring, and then... Are your rings... Hang on. Your rings are like split and drop with...
I think the Kana ring is damaged because I just luckily rolled that with the Master Craftsman key with like 9 and 6. 15%. I don't want to hear this legendary for a while or something.
Yeah. Are you going for any of the current event rings, the strong ones?
If I do, I only get 1, right? Probably. Or.
Well, so eventually you want to have at least 8 rings. Eventually, right? You want to have 4 for damage and then 4 for drop mezzo combination at least. Sometimes people will get even more if they want to have like specific drop rate and specific mezzo for rings. So if you go up to 8 rings, there's no problem there. You'll always find a way to use those. So the ones we're definitely using, so you have 4 now. The ones we're definitely adding is the superior, the reinforced, and probably the Meister rings, right? For your like best in slot drops. So that does mean that's like 3 extra. So that means that you probably want to buy at least 1, I would say, from the event rings. But you could technically buy more without like getting into huge trouble. But just 1 is probably a good idea, yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna throw like a lot of the other rings just on different characters, just to make their life a little bit easier when I train them. So
You could do that, but that's a
Or,
lot
like,
of dailies to be able to
yeah,
be able to afford that, right? They're quite expensive.
yeah. I mean, I already have like a lot of stones on my main right now, and then I have enough for like my arc to get it, for my cannon master to get it, and I was doing like a Kana to get it just because whatever, Kana can just make Mesa when she trains.
Yeah, easy, yeah. And for Kana, they're really, really good rings because of the HP and MP on it as well. They're like equivalent of 18 star plus rings for Kana, so you basically don't have to Star Force any rings until you're like doing hard will.
Yeah, like in particular, like my cannon master or whatever, like, or like my arc or whatever, like doing hard Mudo without drop gear is so booty cheeks, man.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Especially if you get the sharks. The drop rate is so terrible on those.
Yeah, so just to make their life a little bit easier, because I already noticed the difference, like for the first time when I got the drop ring for the first time. I'm like, wow, this stuff is dropping a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Just 20%, and then when I got the 60%, and then I got my familiar, I was like, oh wow, this is dropping all the time now.
Well, I think the familiar for Hard Mudo gets kicked off, right?
Oh, really? It does?
Yeah, I think. But decent holy symbol
use it-
leveling gives you a little bit as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, like even with just holy symbol, I feel like a big difference.
Yeah. The base drop rate for just some of them is terrible. Some of them it's like 100% always, but I think it's the sharks and I think it's the turtles. Yeah. Their drop rate is just garbage, but the other ones are pretty okay, honestly. Like because the blue catfish and the green catfish drop pretty much always, even without any drop rate. But the the dudes on the turtles on the other side, just no way. They just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Hems works. Oh, I thought they got desummoned, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, when I do those, when I do the dailies for like Mudo on my other characters, like it just feels I feel more motivated to do it if I have like a drop ring on them or something, or a drop pendant on them.
Yeah, I can see that.
So,
so I guess which pendants would you do?
I do dailies like on like. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it. You do dailies on the characters to get the symbols?
Yeah, I do dailies on like a couple characters at a time, just to feel like I'm making progress in at least one part of my account. Because I still, like I said, I still have fun with all these characters, basically. Even the blaster, I still have fun with.
Even the blaster, damn. Okay.
Yeah, even the blaster. Even though I won't do more than one totem on it. Like I tried doing a second totem before, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Like after the first totem, like my wrist needs a break.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Because so for because ideally you want to get you have 9 equips that you can get drop or meso on, and then you want to get 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop, ideally at least. And then hopefully all those items get a line of strength as well. That would be ideal. I guess
I need to turn my 2 pendants into meso, right? Because I only have 40 meso.
Yeah, so I'd be okay because of the lines they currently have. So the Mechanator is probably fine to roll into like a combination of drop or meso and strength because it's going to stay a drop rate pendant anyway. So that would be fine, and you'll get that strength somewhere else, and you'll get stronger, and the shoes will get a bunch of strength, and that'll compensate. That'll be fine. For the pendant, I would keep this one for now because you'll even keep it as your damage pendant, together with the superior until you transpose it. So I'll probably start working on a second Dominator pendant, which means that it might be a good idea to do 2 extra Dominator pendants to 15. One that you get up to a drop rate pendant that will stay a drop rate pendant, and then one that you will eventually transfer hammer into superior.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And that is why doing normal arc is so important, because those Dominator pendants they get used a lot.
I've been doing them every day. Yeah, I do them every day. Trust me. That boss, I hate that boss in the beginning.
Oh god, that screen crack is so bullshit.
Because Aran, like, if you don't have Freud's, there's no way to like do it other than just bind. This was before the 4th V came out. When I tried them, I was like, how the hell am I supposed to do the boss?
How do I do things? Yeah, now we have so
Like
many
I
options.
can,
You can Freud's, you can use the Hunter Spray, you can use the Bind. Like,
I don't even have to. I don't even have to bind him. I just go in and smack him like with 1 or 2 combos, and he's dead now. So
yeah, you just wait until he does his first attack, and then by the time he's done with that one, he's dead.
yeah, but yeah, I've been doing arc every day just
Yep.
to get the back dominators because I know how rare those are. So
Yep. And the primals, right? The primals to make Meister rings
yeah,
later.
I have 7 primals right now. I'm not
Good.
sure how many primals it takes to make 1 Meister ring.
Oh, just 1 primal per Meister ring, but you know you want to get it to high star eventually, so it can boom. So you need backups. And in the past, people would also use Meister rings to get a high star force and then transfer hammer into superior. But because now you can get backups from Kana treasure, it'll kind of depend. So if you can get enough Kana treasures, then you would use those to transfer, like get very high star force and transfer hammer into superior later on. You know, like 21 to 20 or 22 to 21, something crazy like that. And you want to save your primals as much as possible, because if you don't need all your primals on this character, you can use them to make Meisters on another character instead. So now primals becomes more of a, because of the kind of treasure rings and because of access to that, primals becomes more valuable for other characters in your account as well.
Okay, that's cool. Cool. I haven't really looked into like getting to Meister level smithing or accessory crafting that much either, because I just feel like it's so far down the road for me. Like
Yeah, and once you go over
once I get
10,
to,
it
like,
starts.
like hard will or something, I'll start thinking about it or something.
It's when you start pushing things past 17. That's when you want to start working about it, thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
Because if you get past 10, it starts decaying, and then you need to use extra materials to keep just to stay at Meister and everything, and it gets. And if you forget a day, you have to like. Ugh, it's really annoying. So, yeah, don't get started with that until it's really.
Yeah, I just been putting that on the back burner.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, that's fine.
Way back there, you know. So
totally fine.
I haven't really put much thought into it, other than just saving up the primals and dominators.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
No, that's good. That's good. Okay, so we're doing an extra dominator for drop. We're redoing the mechanator for drop or meso. You know, 5 meso lines, 4 drop lines, whatever you end up with in the end, and then 1 big event ring for now to replace one that has only damage, probably the kind of treasure. And I would probably re-roll the Reboot Vengeful for try the combination for drop, meso, or strength, like a combination on the Reboot Vengeful. I would try.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then that would be your 9 accessories, right?
Yep. And then does the familiars just add on to that then? Because I have a couple drop familiars also. All the way at the bottom,
So you have a ID. Do you have 1 ID familiar at this point?
I do.
Yeah.
Just one. Just 15%. But like I said, Aran has a lot of like IED. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for now, I think for now the IED, that might circle back into your question of like, can you move the IED pieces in your Legion board to boss damage instead? If you would get another IED familiar, then you could definitely move some pieces around, I would say, and move it into boss instead to optimize your damage until you get to 245 and you do Moonbridge. Or if you're training in Esfera and Morass after the patch, we should be getting familiar cards there as well. If you get a lot of the same cards and you can start fusing them and getting up to epic and stuff, and then you get boss damage, then that will basically be golden for you, because you don't really need the ID there at all. Like if you can get some healing for will, that'll be great. But you want those boss damage familiars. That's the hard stuff that you want. But they'll be epic and unique once you start fusing.
Yeah, so in the short terms, in terms of familiars, it's okay for me just to try to look for another IED line or something? Or
yeah, just reveal all the commons and the rares.
Okay. Because I kind of stopped looking for familiars on this character after I have these 4, basically. So. Yeah,
that's fine. Another IED isn't super necessary for you. That might also be fine that you don't do that. I guess it depends on how seriously you're taking other characters, and if you want to reveal the familiars there to maybe get some 15% ID there, because other characters might benefit from it more than this one. That's possible.
I mean, other characters, I feel like I'm just looking for drop, right, just so I can have a better life with them when I do like quests or dailies, you know.
Yeah, you're gonna be mainly looking for that from the unique one. For like the large amount of drop rate or drop rate and meso obtained by a large amount, that'll be significantly more than the current one. But that's mainly in unique and in in epic and unique that you're going to be looking for those lines.
Okay. And then I remember like it's like I guess my last question about familiar, like there's something weird that you had a misunderstanding about like what the meaning of meso drop was for familiars or something? Or
Yeah. Because you asked about like the stacking. Yeah. So if you have between your decent holy symbol and between your invulnerability and between your coupons and your potions that you're using, if between that you have at least 67% drop rate, then a monster will always drop a bag, and any kind of familiar that has that has meso drop rate won't do anything for you, won't really help. So you can replace that one with either something that deals damage, or with something with a familiar with more defense, so that your summon gauge goes down slower.
Down low. Okay.
And the thing that I was confused with was that if a familiar says item drop rate, that does not include meso bags, but only if it's a line on a familiar. But the lines on everything else does include meso bags.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it does affect like node stones though, right?
Yeah, item drop rate. Yeah. And I don't know if you see the command I just put in the chat, the drop rate one. That talks about like how much is the percentage on everything, so that if you open up a familiar, you can see like which one is better than what you have and which one is about the same and which one is worse, so that you can decide which one to use, and how everything stacks together as well. Okay,
so that stacks on top of the drop rate here. Like like it'll be like 120 meso or whatever, or I guess with my IA I have 13 meso, so like 133 meso or something.
Yeah, so meso and meso drop rate and meso obtain, and then item drop rate and item obtain are like kind of separate. So you need so any kind of drop rate looks at like what drops. So like, does a bag drop? Does a certain item drop at all? Yes or no? And then meso obtain looks at if meso drops, how much is in the bag. So the total amount of meso obtain that you can get, I believe, is in total up to plus 200% compared to just the normal 100%. So up to total of 300%, but like plus 200% basically. And 100% from that can come from your equips, and another 100% can come from all the other sources together, basically. And when it comes to drop rate,
drop is only 100, right? Item drop rate is only up to 100%, right? It doesn't go above 100%.
No, so item drop rate has no actual max. In KMS it has a certain max, but GMS it has no max. There is a max of how much you can get from your equips, and that's 200%. So at most 10 lines from your equips. But other than that, there is no max. Everything else will stack together. So your theoretical max drop rate, I think, when you're mobbing, I think goes up to like 464% or something. If you have, and plus possible extra 20% if you have a greed pendant. It can go insanely high.
Okay.
But yeah, like, nobody reaches those. It's like crazy. This is like double stacking item acquisition.
Yeah, you had to get... yeah. So, like, I just want to know, like, if if I do make those, like, the amount of investment I would put into like getting the other dominator or other mechanator into like item drop or whatever, or meso obtain, like that's worth the investment right now, even before the during the DMT.
Yeah, right? I would do. Yeah, I would just like prep the items. You know that they have like an OK flame, and that you're like star forcing them. Maybe during 30% off, you star force like the extra dominator, right? So like 2 dominators, the earring, the cape. That's pretty much what you're. For 30% off. And then just for DMT you're tiering those up, and then hopefully your shoe, your pants, and your what was it, your shoulder, I think?
Yeah, it's at Epic also, the shoulder.
Yeah, so, and then that money doesn't go towards the droplets. I would say for droplets that's fine. You can hold off and just buy them in the winter when you're going for the full set. The only other thing you want to save up to buy would be the fairy heart.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I have all the way until the end of the event for that one. So.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're like rushed to try to tear it up.
2 weeks of Ursus and Maple Tours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not bad. Okay, so I feel like what's ahead of me is like a lot more clear now. So.
And all the big questions you had have been answered.
Yeah, I mean, I think so, pretty much.
Well, make sure you know so, because I'm here now. So.
Yeah, I'm double checking my
scroll through everything.
Questions, right?
Keep top. Talked about the Abzo hat as well, right? So that could be an item for the
Yeah.
list as well, maybe for TMT slash for 30% off
Yeah. Yeah.
to keep the set bonus.
No, I think that's it. Like I think I'm also at the point where like maybe the node stones are just worth saving up the node shards to boost up the skill nodes at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think you're at a good point for that. As long as all of the boost nodes are over 40, so that you're getting the IED, it'll slow down significantly, and especially because of your, what was it, Maha's, the Fury, the percentage attack on that?
Fury, yeah.
Yeah. And that one and the Decent Holy Symbol is also a nice one to level up because of the extra experience when you're training and extra drop rate as well.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it though.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your time. I know we kind of went over time a little bit.
It's standard for me at this point. Don't worry.
but I'm just really happy that we got to set this time because without your help, I wouldn't be even half of this. Like,
Okay.
Not even 25%. Because
Okay, well, don't give me too much credit, okay? You did all the hard work, all right?
I mean, just staying in the stream and watching other people's progressions, and very nice. And seeing other people progress farther, also like I'm not like jealous of it because I've been playing. I played Maple like before Big Bang, so I'm in this for the long haul, kind of.
Mm-hmm. But it motivates you to see how quickly other people are progressing.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy to see other people progress, and I'm like, oh, I can do a little bit of that too,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And maybe you can group up with them and do Lucid together. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, no.
Yes, interoperability is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was also one thing I didn't write down. But is that a scenario where the interoperability I could use a black circulator for, a chaos circulator for, to get a little bit higher crit rate or?
I wouldn't do it.
Obtain?
There's like 90+% chance of ruining it, and like a few percent chance of
really?
gaining. Like the Meso Obtain can only go up to 15, and the crit rate is at the highest, and the boss damage is at the highest, and they both have variance. So there's a lot of chance that you ruin one of those two, and only for the max gain of 2% Meso Obtain. So I wouldn't touch that one, honestly. I think this is like end game. Just keep this forever.
Okay. All right, because I didn't know like if Meso Obtain could go to like 18 or something. That's why. And, like, crit rate could go up to 10.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want the crit rate or the Meso Obtain to be higher, then you need the higher tier line first, and then you can roll within the tier. But if it's at 10%, then it's an epic line, and if it's 13% Meso Obtain, that's a unique line. So unique only goes up to 15, and epic crit rate, or that's a unique crit rate. Sorry, epic doesn't have crit rate, but unique crit rate only goes up to 10 as well. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So I don't ever have to worry about honor experience then.
This guy, I would say no. Like unless for super end game, like you don't care about the meso anymore, and you want to like lock in. Let's say that you really want to ultimate min max it later, and you want to get the unique is to 20, epic of crit rate is up to 10, because you can technically have legendary crit rate up to 30, but nobody wants that. Yeah, sorry. For end game end game, if you really decide that you want to min-max and redo the whole thing and go for a 20% crit unique line and then hold that and then go for boss damage from there would be some, but this is like when everything is already 20 or 21 or maybe even 22, and you're looking at all the Tenebra's bosses already in, and this is the next logical upgrade for you. But I don't think I would personally just never touch this, even on my main character.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because luckily Aran doesn't have to roll for 1 attack speed, because that was AIDS rolling on the phone. So.
Yeah, not great. Yeah, the guy with all the calculators, he's working on an interoperability one right now. I don't know if it's like 100% up to date. I think it's still kind of tweaking it, but the numbers that roll out of how much honor experience you need are kind of crazy sometimes. So. Like just going for 20 crit and then the main one attack speed or like the main boss damage, and then you're looking at millions and millions, sometimes like 30 or order of magnitude of like 30-40 million honor experience, which is like for the marginal gains that could give you compared to the amount of trouble that is, that time and effort is just better spent somewhere else completely.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, best of luck with everything.
Really it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be in the chat as usual. You'll see me.
Yeah, I'll yeah, and if you're shouting out for like CPQ or for Lucid parties or something, make sure you use the Discord for the Lucid runs, and also use the chat whenever available. And if I see it, I'll make sure to shout it out and give you a little bit of a megaphone.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Scardor. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, dude. Best of luck, and see you around.
Yep, see ya.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
All right, pretty cool. I think we had a little bit of a delay, so a lot of times we would like start talking at the same time, and he would hear me a little bit late, so we'd end up like interrupting each other. But I think we made it work. So don't think that he was like trying to yell over me or something, because to him I think it would sound like I was interrupting him, and to me it would sound like he was interrupting me, because I think he would hear me late. There was a little bit of a delay, but we made it work. So yeah, if you are also in the position where you just finished Lotus and Damien for your first time, and you want to make the jump up to Lucid, and you're wondering how strong you need to be, there's your answer. All of the stuff that you saw here. You might not have some crazy flames like Justice did. Especially his Dominator Pendant and his, what was it, the Black Bean Mark. Crazy flames on those. The temporary weapon here, of course, gives you a huge boost that you can hold on to for quite a while. Play around this. Don't go into the Abzo weapon. That's a lot of money spent there. There is an increase there for sure, but it's not that crazy. Just get the Abzo hat. Play around the temporary weapon if you have it. Of course, if you don't, then go into the Abzo weapon, get the 5 set that way, and keep your CRA hat. And that'll get you everything up to 17. Get legendary, 2 useful lines. Make sure the IED is in check like we did. Make sure your critical rate is at 100%. Work on the critical damage, boss damage in the Legion if you have leftovers. 6k Legion already here is a huge, huge good foundation to get started. And start practicing the boss. The better you get at the boss, the more useful you get to the boss's timings and everything. And the more mistakes you make, the more you can learn from them. And the better you'll get at making sure you can take your damage out on the boss in the time that's allotted to you. And that will make your damage output go up. Not so much getting insane gear, because someone with the best gear who has no idea how their character works or how the boss works will just get dumpstered, and they will deal no damage. If you know exactly what the boss does and you know how your character works, you can do way more damage even with shitty gear. There's a limit to both of those, of course. But if you're with your party, you can rely on your party a little bit without feeling like you're getting carried, right? Your party's there to help you because you're there to help them. You're there to work together. So as always, if you're looking for boss parties, join the Discord. You can give yourself the role of the different classes of bosses. We have the one for Gollux, we have one for CRA, one for Lotus and Damien, one for Lucid and Will, and now we also have one for Tenebra's bosses. Give yourself, reply with the appropriate emote. And you can find other people who have replied for the same bosses and join them up, find a group together. If I'm live, you can always use my chat, call out for people. Is there one for EU? There's not one specifically for EU, but you can mention that you're in EU, but it'll be tough because I don't know how many people in my Discord are actually playing on EU. There's some, I know. And there is an EU guild as well, but it's pretty small. I think it's only it's less than a handful of people, I think. It's very difficult to get off the ground because EU is such a... if you want to be connected and you want to get those guild skills in EU, you already need to have there's only a handful of guilds you can really go to. So now for regular server, no, I don't do anything with non-reboot, sorry. So to circle that back to the outro here, if you want to join the EU guild, which I just praised into high heaven, so if you want to be one of those amazing members and maybe make the roster who gets into the guild PQ, or you want to join the EU or the NA reboot guilds, there's going to be a link for that in the description. If you want one of these sessions as well that hopefully you found interesting and hopefully you found educational for you, you can also check the links in the description. And as always, if you have data for me in the form of your battle analysis that we talked about here as well that you do for Hard Lucid, or your amount of monsters killed per hour that you can use the Veteran Hunter Challenge for in any map, or a training video of you anywhere in Moonbridge or higher, send them to me as well through the link in the description, and I can use that as input and we can give that back to the community to inform everyone on hey, which maps are good, which maps are bad, where are characters good, where do they shine, and where do they struggle more. Thanks for watching. I hope it was cool for you. It was good for me. I hope it was good for you. And I'll see you on the next one. All right. Peace.